Assalamu alaikum. I'm Muhammad Azam Samir, and I'm student of archaeology, heritage study, and culture. Last time in my three lectures, I discussed about the archaeology, Cholistan deserts of Bahawalpur, and architecture and anthropological consideration of southern Punjab, specifically district Bahawalpur. Today, I have come with the new and very interesting topic, the nomadic life of Cholistan Desert in Pakistan. In this sense of understanding, the role of archaeology is very important, as without assistance of archaeology and anthropology, we cannot carve out the real life existed in Cholistan Desert some 4 to 5 thousand years back. So uh, we would discuss, in detail and in brief, the nomadic life in Cholistan Desert. First of all, it is clear and damn clear and true fact that in the Hakravir period, some 4000 BC, the nomadic life was in its peak because we found that almost 52% of sites were campsite that showed the nomadic life, and nomadic life was in peak, and the people they didn't have their permanent residence, but with the context of time we also assume that in early Harappan and mature Harappan the percentile of campsites reduced to 5 to 6% of all sites. It means when the Hakra river changed its course and the changing in water, the movement of the people at that time also disturbed, and they try to become nomadic to permanent resident. So there is fluctuation in the lives of the people at that time. As far as nomadic life in Cholistan is observed, it is truth that the people from Hakravir period to PGW, they have nomadic life, but in early Harappan and mature Harappan the nomadic life was reduced to the low in sections or low in complex societies. But in Agraware period and late Harappan period and PGW period, the nomadic life was in its peak. As far as the comparative analysis of nomadic life of some 5000 years back and in present era, there is something unanimous among the past and present nomadic people, as the people used to sell or used to exchange the goods with the skins of their domestic animals, just such as goat, cow, and others. They also used to have some ornamented goods, such as rilli, gindi, and in present day you can call them cushions or pillows. They used to carve some depictions, some pictures of parrots, the depiction of some floral pattern on their ornamented goods, and they try to sell them out into the big markets, both in the past and in the future, in the present. Similarly, the nomadic life have also some other impacts on the lives of the people. The people, they were they didn't have their permanent residence, both in the past and in present as well. The most prominent nomadic caste in the present era Those are Dat Potra, Afghani, and some other castes such as Hindu caste called Megwal. They also tried to be nomadic while they were surviving in the future in the Cholistan desert life. It is also fact that the life in a Cholistan desert is very hard, really very hard, and the people they were surviving in the past, and they are surviving in the present, and they would survive in the future as well. The people used to settle their small societies very close to the water, as the water channels of the Hakra rivers were very famous in the past, and in the present the people still they are surviving their lives, and they are trying to settle very close to the chobas or small ponds, which are very scarce in the lives of Cholistan. But it is astonishing fact that both man and human being and animals they are drinking water set aside, and they are the both creatures and some birds as well. They are depicted all of their water sources from these small ponds in the present, and in the future the people used to settle their lives very close to the Hakra river, which has been dried since 1000 BC. Another very important factor of nomadic life in the Cholistan desert, without the assistance of archaeology and anthropology, we will never carve out our consideration, our approaches to know the lives of nomadic people in Cholistan Desert. As I told you earlier that in my last lecture that there is very great numbers of sites in Hakravir period, and almost more than half of the sites the nomadic life was there. In the last, I would have some very important points based on nomadic life in Cholistan Desert, which are the nomadic people since the 4,000 years back, and in present era they have been or they are surviving. They do not have much background. They do not have their permanent residences where they can live. But in present, some of the tribal people they have converted towards permanent caste over there. And secondly, the archaeological context is very clear about the nomadic life, and as we assume that in Cholistan desert the nomadic life is in its peak in the earlier days, and it reduced in the middle ages, and then again it enhanced itself in the late Harappan and PGW period. Finally, I can say the nomadic life of Cholistan desert is very important, and the focusing point of everyone who is related to the anthropology, archaeology, and sociology. And still much of the work is required to strengthen the verdict as whether the Cholistan desert was based on the nomadic life and some other social life. The one thing is very important, that in mature Harappan period there are many sites such as Ganveriwala and some Kasaiwala here, and some other sites. The life was in its peak, and nomadic, concepts and nomadic practices were reduced to the permanent life. It means there has been fluctuation in the life of nomadic people from the Hakdawir periods to the PGW period. So in future, I would wish to have more archaeological endeavors in Cholistan Desert, so that we would have new approaches based on nomadic life in Cholistan Desert. So till next lecture, thank you so much. Goodbye.